Why is mindful sex so important? Hey, my friend, it's Hawken. Now, this is a topic that's very near and dear to me. And if you're anything like me and the experience that I have gone through, you've probably spent a lot of your sexual life in your head thinking about everything that's going on in the room, thinking about what they like, how are they receiving this, am I doing this right, excited about the very act itself, just very head heavy. At the same time, not having ever really considered the importance of the partners that we choose and how that affects our energy. And very likely, too, spending a lot of time thinking about trying to get your partner off. And, the age-old question, did you come? I know. It's the thing that we, in our society today, that we are so worried about. Did you come? Instead of worrying, or not worrying at all, about the finish line, and instead being a part of the journey. The age-old saying, it's the journey, not the destination. So, first of all, we have to take it from the top. Think about, okay, mindful sex. Well, how does mindfulness play into that? I mean, we remember that the idea of mindfulness is not being full of mind, not having your mind full of thoughts and wonderings and curiosities. You can be curious, you can explore, but it's so important to be in your body when you do that. Because the core essence of mindfulness is being in the present moment, not having your thoughts all up here and being excited about the act itself and just being so excited that you're doing it at all, that you are actually so far from the present moment and the experience that you're having that it takes you away from the pleasure that's happening inside your body. So how do we get into our bodies? Well, this is the core essence of tantric practice, really, is being in tune with your breath. And if you need an anchor point to really get in your body, think about any one of your body parts or all of them. Float through your body. Do a body scan while you're exploring each other, while you're having oral, while you're having penetration. Think about your body, not theirs. That's the interesting thing, that it really tripped me up when I started really practicing it this way. When you bring yourself into your body, you anchor yourself and ground yourself. You become more connected to your root and your sacral centers and really grounded into your body. And this only works to magnify your pleasure, because when you are in your body, you're actually experiencing the sensations that are happening in your body. Now, the other bit is being mindful of who you share your energy with. Because for me, this was a really big issue for a long time. It took me a long time to even admit to myself that I was a sex addict. It only came up, it was something that I only really admitted to myself just last year when my wife was going through a really hard pregnancy and then her healing afterwards, and we were not active for months. That's a story for another video, but what came up for me was this realization that for a long time I had been using sex like a drug, not caring about who I was doing it with, having encounters with anybody I could get together with and hook up with online, or simply using it to fill a void. And when we do it like that, we're just throwing our energy into the wind without thinking about who we are sharing our energy with. Now, since that, over the last, and even before that realization, I have become quite demisexual in my own life, because to me, sacred sexual energy, sexual energy is sacred to me. And it's something to be coveted. It's something that I only want to share with certain people. And I know I mentioned that I was married, but I'm also ethically non-monogamous, and my wife and I are polyamorous, and so I'm still sharing myself with other people. But the important part is being very mindful about who you're sharing that with. You know, we talk about who you're sharing yourself with in a regular sense, like, who's your top 5? Who are you giving yourself to? The people that you surround yourself with are the people that you become. It works the same way with sexual energy, because you're literally inside each other. You're sharing fluids, and that is a very deep aspect of your energy, sharing your aura with people. And when you're doing that with people who either don't align with you or don't resonate with you, or maybe they have a very toxic personality, that's when we have experiences like being in a relationship for a long time and then getting out of the relationship and going, wow, I really lost myself in that relationship, right? Because we take on parts of each other's energy. When we share sexual energy and we share that kind of energy with people, we're sharing deep parts of ourselves, whether we realize it or not. So it's not just about, being mindful of who you're sharing yourself with for health reasons or anything like that. It's because that energy, when we share it with other people, we're taking little bits and pieces from each other and we're taking them into ourselves. And it's so important to think about, is this somebody that I want to imprint myself on? Or is this somebody that I want to take a little piece of? Am I going to be okay with that? It's so important to share ourselves with people who are going to nourish our soul. Because just like the food that we put in our bodies, and being mindful of what we're eating and practicing mindful eating, you're consuming, just like you're consuming food, you're taking in different partners. And if we're not careful and mindful and selective about who we're taking into our life and our sexual selves, then it's just like eating junk food mindlessly, without considering how that food makes us feel. Do I feel good about it after? Or am I going to regret it an hour later or the next day? Was it an experience that you did or had because you were just really hungry? So you were really horny and you got together with somebody, and now you're going to regret it later in the day or the next day, thinking about that experience again, and vice versa, thinking about how you were really hungry and you were craving that McDonald's burger, but then after you had it, you end up with the poops or, irritable gut, because all of a sudden the hunger is gone and you're left with this feeling of, oh man, I just feel gross. And that's what partners can do to us when we're not mindful and very intentional about who we're sharing ourselves with. So you have an experience, and all of a sudden, a little while later, you're thinking, okay, I didn't really need to do that. Yeah, I guess I satisfied myself, but what was it worth? I don't want to see them again. Now you're filled with all this regret. And then there's the people that are soul food. That you share yourself with them and you think, oh my gosh, I just want to see them again. Or you get into a relationship, and being with them is like having a good relationship with healthy food. So the last thing that I want to touch on is getting into this mindset of it's the journey, not the destination. That it's like going on a hike and spending the whole time thinking about what it's going to be like when you get to the top of the mountain, instead of taking pictures of every little mushroom that you come across, or stopping to smell the roses and stopping to check out that little crevice along the rock or that little cave. Really good sex is like that. It's like slowing down, being in your body, being mindful of who you're with, while at the same time being mindful of how you feel, how this feels, how that feels. And then just being a part of the experience. It completely changes the game. Now, this for me is so prevalent because I have times where we'll have really great sex, and maybe if I lasted a long time, she got off before I did. My stamina was spent because I lasted a while, and I had a really good time. This happened just a few weeks ago. She asked me after, and she went, I don't think, did you finish? And I went, no, but it's okay. I had a really great time. Because there's a difference between ejaculation and orgasm. And I'll get into that into another video too. what's important is to know that it's about the journey. Because if you're stopping to kiss and nibble and slow down and stopping in the middle of penetration and pulling out to go and spend 30 seconds giving oral for a little bit and tease them and edge them and enjoying every little taste and morsel and feeling and sensation, then finishing is just the cherry on top. It's the cherry on top. It's the journey. It's the little kisses and the nibbles and the breathing. Another fun fact is that women actually take about 40 minutes to really prime their bodies for good foreplay. I know this sounds like a while for people who are so used to 5-minute sex, but that's a big part of it in itself, is learning how to get into our bodies, breathe, be connected to our breath, and just make it last longer. Enjoy the journey, enjoy the process. And when we do that, it'll take longer. We'll have fun, we'll enjoy it, be laughing, be giggling, be making it about play with each other instead of being so concerned about finishing. Why are we so concerned about finishing? Why is the end the most important thing? It's not. It's the whole thing. I once heard that sex begins the moment foreplay starts. In fact, I could even go further and say that sex begins earlier in the day when you're doing acts of service for each other, or when you're listening to each other and making each other feel heard. And all of those things prime you to be in the mood with each other later when you have the time and the space for it. So, as you're embarking on your sexual awakening, consider some of these things. And remember, be mindful about it. Be mindful about who you share your energy with. Be in your body. And it's the journey, not the destination. Have a kick-ass day.